Happy Sunday. Welcome to Money Church. This is something we do every Sunday with the Black Wealth Rebels, where we go over investments, investment strategies, investment topics, just to educate you all in the community how to be better investors and traders. Because Jimmy and Corey love to talk about our options, because it's actually started out with Options 101 and then it's expanded. But today we are going to talk about how to make your money align with your mission and how to invest with your mission using ETFs, in particular thematic ETFs. But before we get to that, gotta speak to the bros. What's up, Jim? What's up, Corey? How y'all doing?
What's really good? I'm chilling, man. I'm here, man. You know, I get
middle of the summer.
Yeah, it's the middle of the summer. I ain't got the hoodie on, man. Plus Kamari doing the PowerPoint today, so I'm excited because I get to sit back and talk. Sure.
Oh yeah, how about that?
You know what I mean?
Corey got that YN energy right now. Hoodie on in 90-degree weather. I don't understand that. The youngins be doing that. I be like, yo.
Hoodie on. First of all, I have the air conditioner and the fan on. You know I am not sitting here fat as I am with no mother effing hoodie on in no hot ass room. That's not ever happening.
Listen, man, I just saw the youngins on the bus stop the other day, hoodie on and a Scully, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you going to internally combust?
Yeah, they worried about something else. They don't want nobody to.
Oh, I know. No, but they wasn't on their face.
I mean, listen, man. All right, so listen real quick though. Before we get started, man, everybody watching, yo, let's get our likes up, man. Please hit the like. Let us know who's here too. Hit the comment section. Let us know who's watching. I see a number of folks are coming in the building to watch us live. So if you are watching live, let us know who's here, man. That would be mucho apreciato, as Jody says. But also, I want to shout out our sponsor, which is Supplement, man. Get Supplement, right? So Supplement is a Black-owned brand. They make the best water bottles. Stay hydrated, folks. So get Supplement bottle. Go to getsupplement.com. That's GETSUPLMNT. You know what I mean? They are our sponsors, and I want to salute them for, showing love to the Black Wealth Rebels. But Kamar, you're supposed to be putting the website on the bottom. I don't know what you're doing, man. But getsupplement.com, man.
I got you.
When I see y'all, I want y'all to have y'all Get Supplement bottles, man. By the way, pull up on the 14th too.
Because we're gonna do some giveaways, and a supplement bottle is gonna be one of those.
Yeah, we're gonna do some giveaways, man. We're gonna do some giveaways, and also I'm gonna do another shout out before we get started. I see another folk here. That's the website right there. Get Supplement to get your supplement bottle. So salute to Supplement. You know what I'm saying? But also want to shout out our brother Kevin Matthews, because I got the physical one here now. I'm already halfway done from the Kindle joint. You know what I'm saying? Because I double support. You know what I mean? So I got I got the autograph copy and all that.
Did you give me one? Did you give me one?
I can't tell that man to autograph something for
I know you can buy it and say, yo, he knows me, autograph for Mar. I know you wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't look out for Cookout. I got you.
Here we go.
It's all good, man.
Well, this is gonna be a collector's item for me. I'm putting this on the shelf, but I got.
I'm actually glad you did that. I got to do that as well.
But what I want to tell, especially if Kevin ever sees this, man, this is a phenomenal body of work, right? Because it's actually inspiring too. Because my man, first of all, the way he cites his sources is great, because a lot of our brothers and sisters that be writing don't do that. But also, there's a lot of stories about Tulsa, but I've never heard one told like this, and I'll tell you why. So the brother is from Tulsa, but what's interesting about what he does in the book, most Tulsa stories start from the issue that happened, the alleged issue that happened on the elevator. But he does a great job of giving all of the backstory of things that were happening on the ground in Tulsa that led up to it. Because a lot of times when you hear the story, you think it's like this thing that just spontaneously happens. But it's a whole lot more than that. And he goes through it in the book, which is why it's a nice size book. But so shout out to Kevin. This is a phenomenal read. I'm more than halfway done. I'll be done before the next week or so, because I'm on my way to Tulsa to go to the museum and do the knowledge on the ground and whatnot. So I wanted to read this beforehand, but I just want to give him a salute because this is a great read. Great read. Anyway,
okay.
You got to get the book. I know Don has already read it, man. So Don can probably co-sign what I'm saying, but it's a great read. Like the backstory part to me is it's crazy, man. I'm talking about he goes all the way back to Lincoln and whatnot, So it's a lot of history. And as someone who loves history, it's like, oh damn, I didn't see how all this was tied in, but it is what it is.
Well, it's funny, right? How they talk about Tulsa and Black Fortunes, and the whole movement and migration to Oklahoma, and how a lot of people thought Oklahoma was going to be this new promised land, but sadly, everybody ran into the same things: white supremacy and craziness.
Yeah, Black Fortunes, man, that's another one. We gotta track down Jamari Wells and get him on the show, because that's one of all of our favorite books. That's probably Black Fortunes is, and it's funny because me and Kamar were talking about this recently. We were talking about, like, what book, if we were to give away a book, what book would you want to give away? And it came out of 2 books, and I said Black Fortunes, and I think the other one, what was the other one you were arguing for? And I don't think you were arguing for it. I think you were just trolling me, but it was
I wasn't trolling you.
I think it was a Kimbrough book. Wasn't it Kimbrough's book? It was Kimbrough's book, I think.
So, I do like Wealth Choice.
Isabel Wilkerson out of this?
Well,
so I love Isabel, but Isabel's a deep read.
That's a heavier read. We were talking about something specific to Black wealth, not necessarily a deep read, right? So it came down.
I'm about to say.
No, it came down to those 2 books. It was the Wealth Choice, Dennis Kimbrough's book, and Black Fortunes. And I was telling Kamari, I think Black Fortunes would be a better, in terms of a giveaway, because I love Black Fortunes. I think Black Fortunes, again, also from someone who loves history and loves narratives, hearing those stories to me would just be better to give away to someone, because sometimes people can't get too deep in the weeds. Everybody can't get too deep in the weeds, but everybody can be inspired.
Listen, Black Fortunes inspires me. Again, it's right here. Right here. I love this book.
You try to show off
this copy.
No. I'm not going to my copy. I'm going to something that preceded Black Fortunes. That is kind of like Black Fortunes, but by Nikki Butler Mitchell. It's called The New Color of Success. This book is Black Fortunes before Black Fortunes, but the difference between this book and Black Fortunes is this is actually people that are operational now. It's like, how did you build this $1 million like plumbing business, or how did you build this $1 million real estate portfolio business, or how did you build this electronics business, or so it's called A New Color of Success, but it's people that have built $1 million businesses that are actually operational now, not historical.
We got to add that to the book club. And by the way, we got to get to the book club. We got to make some time for that.
Yeah, shout out to The New Color of Success. That's all I was going to show. That's all.
No, listen. I haven't read that. I will.
I ain't going to let you pull a book out of me.
I got it. Well, I'm going to get it, and we're going to rate it. 1 through 10.
Another one that has to be rated, this one, though, by the way. This is next to it, so I forgot to show it. The John.
Right? That's dope. That's dope.
And by the way, I got this directly from John Carlos.
I mean, since we want to show books, I mean, this is another one we need to read too. By the way, And by the way,
see, y'all got the advantage, man. Because my library in Texas, and y'all pulling out books, man.
And Kamari, I do want to say this too. This book right here, the John Carlos story, I got directly from John Carlos.
Ooh, that's fire.
I'm saying, so I just said the book I made. I'm saying,
I hate you for that, but okay, I love you for that at the same time. But I got this one too. But no autograph, no autograph.
You know what I'm saying? John Carlos said, "Look, I love your work." You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man.
All right, Jimmy won. I gotta give it up to him. He got the autograph, John.
I'm mad at both of y'all because my whole library in Texas, and I'm here in Philly, and y'all showing off 1,000 books, and I don't got nothing here.
Just bibliophile and whatnot.
Y'all
just nerd out, man. That's all.
Listen, I got some ish. See, I was ready to crazy.
We know you do.
Ish.
You know you do.
But let's get into this real quick. Let's speak to the folks, because we are a little off the rails for our Sunday show, but it's all good. What up, Don? How are you?
Rails, man, that was love, man.
Nicole, what up?
Hey, Nicole.
What up, Brent? Happy Sunday.
What's up, Brent?
Champ. What up, Champ? And Champ, listen, I appreciate you, Champ, for supporting my man Mike Schwarn. I appreciate that. I'm assuming you like the show over there. I don't know if you knew about them or was already rocking, but every time I see you come over, it's through my channel. So I appreciate that, Champ. Now, before we get going, we got the camp coming up. I want to say thank you. I know Corey wants to say thank you. I know Jimmy wants to say thank you.
Thank you.
For Friday, y'all donated almost a stack or about a stack. I know we got over a stack in 20 minutes, y'all. Jimmy was about to cry.
Yeah, no, I really was though. I really was.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, that no cat. All right, so we appreciate y'all. That bread is going to go directly to the camp. We're going to show all that. We're going to document everything as much as we can with the youth and what we're doing in the process. Hopefully, other people in other cities will take the lead and start doing more stuff with the babies as well. All right.
And listen, I want to put this out there too. If someone is looking to set something up like this in their city, like we're willing to help in terms of like
Absolutely
laying the foundation, showing you how it's all done. And it truly was phenomenal. And I visited the facilities yesterday that we have for this camp, and the facility is crazy. Like,
hey, Jimmy, did you do what I requested, sir?
I got to put the video together. So I took some video. I want to do some like, voiceover work on it or whatnot. You know what I mean? But
that's not what I asked for, sir. But we'll talk.
No, it's a reason why. It's a reason why, man.
Okay.
I did what I could. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. It was a tournament yesterday, so there's a lot going on. But I did what I could. So it's just, man, I'm excited about this, man. I want to get the word out. Buythehoodcamp.com. I want to get as many people registered as possible. So we're going to get the registrations up. But this is going to be our best camp. You know what I mean? And I'm just, so for those who could just share that, please. Share buythehoodcamp.com. It's going to be a hybrid approach. So if you're not in the area, then, we're going to try to figure out how to stream it as well. But if you are in the area, pull up live. Because when you come live, we got chefs coming for the babies. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Whoa. Thank you, champ. That's love right there. The
20
champ is here.
Appreciate that. By the way, I do got a book list. I got to update it, add some new stuff. But if you go to any of the pods, if you're in the village, just go to the Philly Row Home Report or go to Stack Sats or Die Trying and look at the description. There is a book list. I don't have the
But we actually need to create a Black Wolf Rebels official book list too.
Yeah, we do.
Somebody, was it Diggy? I think K Diggy did one in a thread back there.
Yeah, he does. But I do have a list, and they got a lot of the stuff that we're gonna end up on ours. And so Black Fortunes is on there. Isabel.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do gotta add this. I gotta add this to it because this right here.
Absolutely. Like I said, I want to buy that. I'm gonna buy that today.
I gotta add that on there.
Go ahead, Jim.
Are you going to Uncle Bobby somewhere to buy it? Where are you buying it from?
I will try to buy from Uncle Bobby.
Oh no! No. Matter of fact, you should buy it directly from Kev.
Okay, I'll hit him up.
Yeah.
Answer that, Jim.
All right, so you can send it to the Cash App, which is $BuyTheHood, BuyTheHehood, $BuyTheHehood. We're creating a whole database of everybody that's donated, and we definitely appreciate it. We're trying to figure out something to do for you guys, but it is what it is, man. Like, this is going to be, game changer for a lot of folks. And like I said, we got the facilities that's just crazy. This is it, man. I'm excited. I'm at a loss for words, and also I'm at a loss for words for all the love that y'all showed, man, because that was crazy.
Yes, it was. So, I know we joke a lot, and I was saying, Jim was in tears about to cry. That's real. But it wasn't because he was soft or no punk, nothing like that. He was moved by the love, y'all.
No, man,
because I'm gonna
tell you why, man. I'm gonna tell you why, because I spent a lot of time on the internet, you know what I'm saying, good and bad. But the fact is, I always see people complaining, like, ain't nobody doing nothing, or ain't nobody saying nothing. And it's like, when you see people that support like good work, it's not the BS. It's not the nonsense. We up here trying to get clicks by talking about should you split rent and all that. It's like we really trying to build. And no disrespect to those that do the how much.
I was about to say, man, shout out to everybody that's going 50-50.
What I'm saying is we're not doing those kind of engagement things. We're talking about building community and helping the youth, and to see people pour into us like that, it's just more, it's inspiring, makes me want to do more. You know what I mean? Like when me and Kamari a couple weeks ago was over there talking to the babies behind the wall. You see I'm freezing?
Either you froze or I froze. Somebody froze.
Oh, I didn't think I froze. Like, anyway, right. I have to say, when me and Kamari were behind the wall, whatever, and you talk to the kids and you hear their stories, and you talk to folks about like people not doing stuff. And it's like people are doing stuff. And I'm not even talking about just us. I just feel like
there's a lot of people doing stuff. They don't get highlighted.
They don't get highlighted, and I think that's the problem. But then when you see us open up and then people just pour into us, it's like, okay, so y'all recognize that you know, we've built something and we have a track record that can show, you know, a lot of folks that donated have had the youth that come through the camp, so they see the value in it.
Yep. And I mean, that's important to keep that name clean, man. And y'all kept the name clean, so salutes to y'all. But
hey, listen, man.
Go ahead.
I know I'm just looking at my phone. We just gotta Champ to send the $100 over for the youth.
Ooh,
that's love,
Yeah,
appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Champ. Thank you, Champ. Thank you. Again, all the money's gonna go to the babies.
Yeah, man, this is dope, dog. This is dope.
All right, well, let's get at it. You know, again, we're gonna be here for, as Jimmy likes to say, not a long time, but a short time and a good time. It is Sunday. I'm sure everybody's getting ready to make their Sunday dinner. By the way,
I know you're gonna do the presentation. I want to acknowledge one thing before you start, though. And you know, that shirt you got on is phenomenal, bro. That shirt you got on is phenomenal, and I'm jealous that you have it because you know I want that shirt, but you know, it is what it is.
So shout out to my guy Garen who made this over at Cruise and Tees. Him and Karan do some stuff together. So yeah, I always try to support them as much as I can. They got a lot of fire joints.
No, but you gotta show the shirt because I don't know if folks even know who you got on the joints. You like,
oh,
that's the GOAT, yo.
Yeah.
That's the GOAT right there.
So that's Fannie Lou Hamer.
Oh, you gave it up. I was about to ask the audience, could they tell me who was on your shirt? But you already.
Oh, my bad.
Give up the goods again. He gave up the goods. Just
my bad. That's how y'all know these shows are not scripted.
Yeah, pretty much. No, Fannie Lou is probably my hero. I absolutely love Fannie Lou. I try to read everything I can about her. I try to watch videos about her. And she was inspiring to me in a lot of different ways. Because she told it like it is. It's like straight. What I learned from Fannie Lou is this. You know, a lot of our folks feel like they have to be a certain level, have a certain level of speech or be articulate and say this, but she just spoke truth to power. And you can't deny it when someone speaks truth to power. And she was, you know, fighting for her folks. And, you know, I just love Fannie Lou Hamer. So when I saw the shirt, I got jealous. But, you know, I'm going to get my own Fannie Lou shirt.
So it's funny, right? Jimmy knows I'm a big Dr. Greg Carr fan. He's the chair of African American Studies at Howard. It's him and Karen Hunter. By the way, if y'all not down with Karen Hunter, y'all should be down with Karen Hunter. But him and Karen Hunter just did a YouTube video talking about Fannie Lou and how this white reporter back in the 60s was trying to trap her into talking greasy about Martin and the civil rights movement and all that. But she was so smart that not only did she not fall for the trap, and we got to go over this. We're going to go over this in the village. Mm-hmm. She didn't fall for the trap, but she also wound up bigging up another black sister in the whole process of this, who was also doing the work. So she's like, I'm not playing with y'all. She was about that life. All right, so listen, we're going to get to it, y'all. We're going to get to it. All right, so today we are talking about how to make your money work for the things that you believe in. How to make your money be in alignment with your overall mission. All right, so today's topic is ETFs that speak our language, our being black folks, how to align your money with your mission. All right, so a lot of times, and I don't know if y'all peep this, but we don't let money drive us. We let community and the love drive us. The money comes secondary. A lot of other channels, a lot of other people, and this is no shade, it's all about the money. It's all about the money first. It's not like that with us. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to so easily join together. Again, I know we crack a lot of jokes, but Jimmy does too, by the way. Can't leave him out. But when it comes to this thing, we are in lockstep with this. The people come first. When worst comes to worst, our people come first. Money never comes first. Money is never supposed to come first. So we want to talk about how you can use your funds to direct your investment dollars, make some money, and do some good at the same time. All right. All right. So our ethos is we don't just dream about black futures. We fund those black futures. Again, we don't dream about black futures. We fund those black futures. And you see this with the camp. So we live our raps, as Jimmy likes to say. All right. Also thinking about when you are investing, when you're doing business, it's a form of resistance. Black wealth is a form of resistance. because the system does not want us to be great in that way. All right. And so ownership can be healing, not always healing, but it can be healing, because when you own something, you can make it right, or at least make it righter. So I'm making up words today, y'all, like Al Sharpton, but you can do things better. Like, for example, Jimmy always talks about why it's so important for us to own real estate in the community, so we don't have as many slumlords. When we have real people who are owning the real estate and the rental properties in the community, we can do a better job to look out for them. That can become a healing process. Also, I know Jimmy and Corey interviewed these folks. I can't think of their name. I believe they're in Baltimore. But they give their people, you know what, it might be our sister, Aisha.
You talking about Charm City?
No, but it might be, I'm probably confusing them. Somebody gives a care package when they bring them in, and they're always
that was
pushing
Naomi.
them.
That was Naomi.
That was Naomi. Okay, but they're pushing them to
No. That wasn't Naomi. That was Nairobi. And Nairobi does that, and so do I, by the way. But I stole it from her, so.
No, it's fine. But anyway, it's still, you're using your ownership to then help further ownership. Most times people just want their renters to stay in their properties forever and generate the rent. You're like, nah, let's get this chicken too. So you're showing a different way, and that's what we always are striving to do. All right. What's an ETF? We've covered this a million times, but we're going to talk about it one more time. An ETF is merely just a basket of investments. In this context today, it's a basket of stocks. It can be a basket of bonds, a basket of currencies, a basket of commodities, and all those things. It's just a way to make things a little bit more easy to invest in. Think about ETFs. Everybody knows about mutual funds. ETFs are like the little cousin of mutual funds. All right. So ETF stands for exchange traded fund. The difference between the two, because they're almost identical, they're both baskets. Mutual funds, you cannot trade throughout the day. You can't buy them from 9 a.m. to 4:30, or excuse me, you can't buy from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can only buy them at the end of the day around 6 o'clock, or sell them at 6 o'clock. ETFs, you can buy and sell throughout the day. And I don't even want to start talking about pre and aftermarket too, but for the most part, you can buy them throughout the day. That's not a problem. One issue, and I won't go into this a whole lot, is taxation. Y'all know I got to get some talk about tax in there. Mutual funds are taxed worse than ETFs. And so that's another big difference in why I love ETFs so much. They have greater tax benefits than mutual funds do. So that's something to think about. But diversification is one of the great things that you can get with an ETF. So you can buy one thing, one ticker symbol. You hear us talk about SPY or VOO or VT or VTI. Those ETFs, again, trade on the stock market, but they own roughly the S&P 500. So they own about 500 different shares of stock. So there's a form of diversification going on inside of those ETFs from the start. All right. Now, today we're talking more about thematic ETF investing. So you can use your money, buy an ETF, and then buy a different idea, a different trend, a different theme, things like that, right? So you can see an idea. Here's an idea. I want to buy weed. I'm going to tell y'all a story about that in a minute too. I want to buy weed companies. Well, there are ETFs that focus on weed stocks. There are ETFs, all right, because we're talking about impact. There are ETFs that do what's called ESG, environmental, societal, and governance. So supposedly those are all the good, clean companies that are trading on the stock market. Some people love it. Some people don't. All right. Then there's other things, ETFs that are buying or being created that follow straight trends. I'm gonna say this because I think Jimmy's gonna get mad at me, but IBIT has recently been created to track the price of Bitcoin. Well, so in one way they're following a trend, in another way they're just saying, listen, Bitcoin's here, it's not going anywhere. So you can kind of make both arguments for that. But now, you had Grayscale earlier. I would definitely say they were following the trend. IBIT, which is a new ETF or newer ETF, they just said, listen, it's here. We can't run from it. we might as well give folks a way to buy it. Jimmy, what do you have to say about that? You disagree? You agree?
No, I don't disagree at all.
Okay.
I understand why. I understand why I can buy Ibit. Actually, I'm somewhat of a fan of Ibit, and a lot of Bitcoiners hate Ibit because it's not, quote unquote,
right.
Bitcoin. But I think
right.
that it has a place in the ecosphere of Bitcoin, because a lot of folks don't want to go through all the other stuff. They just want to have price action, right?
Right.
And by the way, it is the fastest growing ETF ever.
Okay.
So therefore, there was a market for it. So
Okay. So, all right, why it matters to us, right? What you fund, you want to fund what matters. Now, for me, and I've talked about this, not explicitly, but I don't fund private prisons. I don't rock with private prisons at all. It's really hard, though, because private prisons are also REITs, REITs, or real estate investment trust. They are owned throughout the S&P 500. So a lot of times when I'm buying S&P 500, I can't do nothing about that. But I will not buy a REIT individually. So, you know what, I'm not even going to mention companies, but I'll just say this. A lot of people love them because they pay a great dividend, but a lot of people die and get raped in the prisons that are owned by these things. And we all know there's a lot of Black people in these private prisons that are mistreated. So that's something I can't be a part of. All right. So another reason you want to look at investing, the impact of the community. What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like when you're investing money in certain things? Like, again, one of the great things about Bitcoin, but I will admit, Jimmy calls me a Bitcoin hater, but when you look at other areas, other countries that don't have as much stable currency, it can be really disastrous when you see major inflation spikes in countries. Like this happened a lot in Africa. I'm thinking about Zimbabwe when they were having problems with Robert Mugabe. I'm nerding out a little bit, so many of y'all, if y'all don't know who Robert Mugabe is, look him up. But their inflation went through the roof when he kicked out all the European landowners and business owners there. And so Europe had a problem with it. Had they had Bitcoin in place, they wouldn't have experienced that as much. So, you got to think about things like that, all right? And then so, you definitely want to grow with a purpose. Again, this next slide is going to show y'all some of the things you can use to invest your money in when you say, you know what, I want to be really intentional about where my money goes and how it goes. Again, I'm going to use Jimmy and Corey because I always want to give Corey his props because Corey was he's really the first Bitcoin god. Jimmy has now got all the certifications and everything. But again, that's something the community can use for our benefit to grow and protect itself. So just keep that in mind, y'all. All right, so here's some real examples of how you can use thematic ETFs or trend ETFs or things like that, right? So we got MJ. That's a cannabis stock, all right? And what's owned by MJ? Tilray, and I got a Tilray story. And Canopy, there's some others in there as well. Now, when Tilray first went public, I brought Tilray, and I usually hate IPOs. I do not like IPOs. And when I say I don't like IPOs, I don't like them from the start because they usually become overpriced because they become overhyped. And that Tilray for like 20, 25 bucks, somewhere around there. That sucker shot up to about 300 bucks. Now I jumped out of it because I recognized that when I got lucky, and I think that's a really important thing people need to understand when they invest. It ain't always skill. Sometimes it's luck. I had no way to predict that the market was going to react so positively to push this stock up by like 1,000% almost. All right. But I got out of it. But that's one example. Another story I got, Africa. AFK is an ETF right there. I wrote about Africa, the Africa ETF, somewhere in 2006, 2007, somewhere around that, when I was a financial advisor. That's another theme-based ETF. Why Africa is so important is it's one of the fastest growing economies around the world, or the countries inside of Africa, because Africa is a continent. It's not a country. A lot of people always get that confused, but they have some of the most fastest growing economies around the world of any countries. So that's something you got to think about. But going back to the story, when I was a financial advisor, I wrote about it. I almost got fired because of it. They said I didn't have the authority to write about this ETF because there's rules and I get it, but I wanted to write about it because I'm like, hey, this is an opportunity for Black people to invest in other Black things, barring the other political stuff that's going on in Africa too, especially in South Africa, because we know most of the money that's being generated in Africa is by landowners or Afrikaners or whatever you want to call them. It's not necessarily going back and touching the original African people. So, but that's another example of themes and trends that are going on that you can use ETFs to invest in. Corey, it looks like you got something to say. What you got?
Theme-based investing is cool. It's just you gotta be very careful about even the theme-based investing because some of those are hot garbage. Just
Yep,
be
that's
careful.
it. And we're going to talk about that. And Corey is 1,000% correct, right? And we're definitely going to talk about that. But there's a couple in there. iClean or ICLN is investing in clean energy. People like Tesla and Phase and things like that. You got Robos, another ETF that's real heavy in NVIDIA and other robotics companies as well. You got NAACP. NAACP has an ETF. It's got about $50 million in it.
I've never heard of that one. I'm today years old. I never heard of that one for one.
Really? It came out a while ago. It's problematic to say the least, but they are trying to invest in positive stuff. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
No, I just want to add to this. Like one of the things about like ETFs is you got to be careful with your expense ratio, right? Even if you are trying to get into a specific theme, always be careful and look at your expense ratio. How much is it costing you to hold this bucket of stocks?
Yep.
Even if you are trying to, because I understand that for some people they want to be within a specific sector or theme. So,
yep. So I mean, Jim,
I jumped ahead. I didn't see your presentation. I didn't know.
That's cool. Listen, man, it's all good. Like I said, y'all know we don't rehearse these, right? We're just together so much that we can just flow and do it. But Jim and Corey were just talking about this, right? Everything ain't for everybody and everything ain't good. Just because it's on the market does not mean we should invest in it. All right. Yeah. So you want to be able to evaluate these ETFs and add a level of discernment into your overall investment, right? So Jim brought it up, expense ratios. You want to look at that. You want to be cognizant of that. A lot of times these expense ratios are represented and percentages are also what's called BIPs, basis points. 100 basis points is 1%. And so a lot of times in the professional field, they talk about everything in basis points. So if it's 50 bips, that's 0.5%. If it's 25 bips, that's 0.25%. If you are giving away 1/4 of your money or 50% of 1% of your money, that's going to wane on your overall investments. You want to try to be really diligent about where your money's going. You got to make these people work hard for your money. All right. So that's something you want to do. Next thing you want to look at is the holding analysis. You want to know what it owns. Sometimes some ETFs have one style. They might own a lot of the same stuff. They might have a different style. For example, you have equal weight S&P 500 companies. Then you have market rate or market-based or market cap ETFs. They're totally different, and you need to understand this. And they will have a different profile and characteristics with the returns and how the assets flow. So those are some things you want to look at. Obviously, historic performance as well as the risk assessment. You need to know, one, how it's performed. For example, that AFK ETF I talked about has been trash, right? It's been trash for years. But again, I liked it because I like the idea. But when you look at the performance and the expense ratio, it's not my shiniest hour. When we go back, it didn't hold up well in history. It didn't hold up well at all. All right. So those are the things you got to think about when you're looking at these ETFs. All right. Risks to watch for. All right, like I said, just because it's out there doesn't mean that it's good. Just because it's out there doesn't mean it's going to generate a return for you. Doesn't mean you're going to make money. Flat out, you might lose money. That's always a risk you have to take. All right, you want to understand volatility. Volatility meaning how the market goes up and down, how fast it goes up and down. You want to know how that's going to impact your ETF. For example, bond ETFs have been up and down recently because of all this tariff talk that's been going on in the US. Typically, bonds are pretty safe. You don't see a whole lot of volatility. The whole complexion of that has changed because of the current administration is in here. All right. And then you want to look at the diversification needs. When I was a financial advisor, one thing I would do, and I would cook other financial advisors at this, because what a lot of financial advisors will recommend is buying all these mutual funds. And they all follow the same thing, S&P 500. And so you got a Vanguard ETF, you got a State Street ETF following basically the same thing. And an advisor would say, well, I'm doing this to get some diversification. But when you dig deep and you do a holdings analysis, you find that it's buying the same stuff. Jimmy talks about top T a lot. A lot of times it's buying the same stuff that's in the top tier of either the Dow, the S&P 500, and you're just duplicating it over and over again. And what happens is when you have these mutual funds that are buying the same things, when you have a market crash in like '08, everything goes bananas. Everything goes bananas. But a lot of times people won't understand that because they don't understand what they own. We need y'all to understand what you own. All right. So build your own personal rebel portfolio. Figure out what your values are, what you will and will not do. Like I talked about prisons. I ain't buying the private prisons. I don't care how great the return is. I don't care how great the dividend is. I can't knowingly buy something that causes harm. That's just my personal thing. All right. Now research other ETFs because there's a lot of overlapping ETFs. Earlier, I mentioned like 3 or 4 ETFs that cover S&P 500. There's other ETFs that overlap. Earlier, we talked about cannabis. There's multiple cannabis ETFs. You have to look at them on their own and see, 1, what their expense ratio is, 2, what their holdings are, right? A lot of the same stuff. And then you want to go through and understand what some of these companies are doing and figure out which one is best for you. All right. And then you want to go forward and allocate properly. Now, with all this said, if y'all ever need help with allocation in your portfolio or buying stuff, you could always hit us up in the village. We're more than happy to do that for you. All right. So this slide talks about building with purpose. So a lot of times people will say, invest 70% of your funds in your core investments. The core investments a lot of times are your S&P 500, maybe some bonds, right? The stable things, the things that you know and can predict. And then take 30%. So let's say you got 100 grand. They're saying take 70,000 of it, put it into the things that you know and you understand and you know what's going to go. Take 30%, put it into the theme, the trends, because a lot of times that other 30% will have the potential, keyword potential, to outperform the 70. But it also has a good chance of going to zero as well, greater than that 70% as well. So a lot of times, like if we talk about the S&P 500, we know the S&P 500 over the last, well, not the Dow, has done anywhere from 10 to 12% a year. A lot of times people don't want that. They want more. They want to try to knock it out the park. And so they say, all right, well, I want to get a little bit of juice. Let's look at some of these themes. Let's look at some of these trends so we can get a little bit more money. But again, you got to do it smart. You got to do it smart. All right, so thank y'all. That concludes today's performance. I'm the talent today. I'm taking Jimmy's title. If anybody has any questions about ETFs, investments, anything that's going on in the market, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it.
No, that's good stuff, man. I think that ETFs to me are one of the most powerful things in investing, right? I'm a huge fan of ETFs because although I talk about not being spread too thin in terms of just having your money in 5,000 different stocks, I still believe diversification is important for most people, right? And I know a lot of people have seen like the Charlie Munger clips where he says like diversification for people who don't know what they're doing. But I think, I think that's true. But what I think that most people miss in that is you are most people, right? Right?
That's a fact.
Right? Because the thing is, he's speaking about professional investors, and a lot of times, if I'm being completely honest, who have insider information. Most of us, we're everyday people who are working and making a living. We're not working in the field of finance. So for us, ETF to me is a godsend, right? I think it's more impactful than a mutual fund. I know there are a lot of mutual fund folks out there. After studying it, and also I want to salute Kamari as well as Sister Courtney, because one day they gave me from a tax standpoint an education. I always like ETFs because of the liquidity, but they broke down to me from a tax standpoint how ETFs make more sense. That just added more fuel to my fire to be a bigger fan of ETFs. So I think they're very powerful. It's something we should continuously talk about. I know we talk about them often, but it's a reason we talk about them often. And then like given the knowledge and the fact that there are themes out there, you have control over what theme or how you want to place your money. To me, they're no-brainers. Everybody should own ETFs. And by the way, not investment advice, for educational informational purposes only.
How about that?
I am just a huge fan of exchange-traded funds.
But to Jimmy's point, none of that was investment advice. All right.
Yes, none of that was investment
advice.
Invest in what you want to invest in, but make sure that you research whatever it is you're trying to get into.
No, absolutely, and that's part of what Kamari's talking about. Like, even if you do, make sure that you research what it is that you got going on, in terms of those ETFs. But the reason I say that is because I don't think you should have 50,000 ETFs, right? But adding a couple ETFs to what you're already doing will give you the diversification you need, because an ETF is a basket.
I moved from 3 to 4. Just added one.
What are the ETFs or just holdings in general?
I added another ETF. I added the top T.
I mean, listen, you can't. I mean, I ain't going. You can't go wrong. I'm saying, you know.
I added top. I had. You know what I'm
saying?
I had iBit. I had the real estate joint, and then I had the micro strategy joint, and now I just added top T.
The way I look at my portfolio personally is top T, IBIT, XLRE is like, that, and also the S&P 500 are probably 90% of my entire portfolio. Everything else I know is speculation. You know what I'm saying? I know everything else. So when I buy any individual stock, I know it's speculation but that's why I have a bucket for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the idea of buckets are something else that's important in personal finance in general, right? Having
we did a show on that.
I know we did, and we probably should do another one, right? I was thinking about some of the things that we've already done a show, and we probably should update and do more shows on it, because certain things have to be reiterated. And that idea of bucket, because keeping yourself out of debt and having buckets and operating your budget is so paramount when it comes to personal finance, right? So,
and then you also have to understand how these things work. Like all these assets, they all have different characteristics. They're like kids, right? All your kids are going to be different. They're not the same. Just because one stock says, IBM, the other stock says Coca-Cola. Two different investments. They're going to react two different ways. They're going to have different reactions during different times of the year. Seasonality, look that up. Right?
Hey, seasonality, sector rotation, we did all that.
Yeah, we need to do shows on those, because those are super important. Even though your homeboy is throwing all of that off,
it'll come back. It'll come back.
It will. It's just, those are super important, because then you know what seasons you should be buying and selling your stocks. Even if you're buying, like we like to say, all the time, you should always have seasonality in mind when you're doing this, because seasonality helps you to get the best prices.
A lot of times, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So, yeah, that's just...
All right, so I see we got a couple comments here.
a couple. We got one commenter. He was going off for a minute. I have no idea what he's saying though.
Yeah, white boy tripping. We ain't even paying that shit. We gonna move on from those comments. All of that shit.
No, he's here. We gonna acknowledge him. It might be some good information. It might be good questions that other people might have.
I'm not acknowledging that shit.
I'm going to acknowledge it, Corey.
All right, you got it.
All right, what up, Jamel? What up, Jiggity?
I have no idea. I have no idea what you're saying.
Acknowledge that shit. Like,
I don't know what you're saying.
What's up, Lorraine? All right.
Miss Maui, how are you?
What's going on with this? There we go. Right. All right. Yo, sup, bros? I don't know what that means. All right.
Like that's what I said. I don't even know what I mean. Is this chart about how to pertain to white people? See, that's what I'm saying. That
no, not necessarily. Okay, you said you're joking. All right, you love us. All right. Well, if you love us, bring us some positive things that are constructive.
Love us in the super chat.
That's facts. No, if you love us, send us a cash app because super chats get bust down by YouTube.
Yeah, send us some money for the camp.
Yeah, donate to the camp.
I take anybody money, they giving it away.
Yeah, send the money to the camp.
We're gonna put it to the use in the community.
Hey, by the way, that's a wire quote for those who don't know. No.
I do know it. That's
What'd you say, Kamar?
That was Honorable Clay Davis. That was his bar, right?
It's actually what's funny about it is there was a juxtaposition. It was a Clay Davis bar, but also Nay said it too. Nay was on the street when Marlo was giving away money, and Michael was like, "Don't go take his money." He was like, "I take anybody."
I remember that, and actually,
so the funny thing is in that episode, this is why the Wire is so brilliant. They were juxtaposing the kid on the street saying it, and the boy is a whole senator, and he had the same perspective. I take anybody money. He didn't say body. He said any Libyan.
But that's the brilliance, though. And I know we're off on a Wire tangent. We come right back. The Wire was so brilliant, as Jimmy just said, though, right? When you look at Michael's character. Even though he did all the running and gunning, but he had morals, and I know that might seem weird. He did have some type of a moral compass.
I mean, so did Omar.
Oh, absolutely. A man got to have a code. You know? Our young black and white people have our savings in clothing, shoes, sunglasses. Okay, car. All right. I don't agree with that totally. Yes, there's some, but it is what it is. On one hand, black friends own a home. Two of my white friends, the white guy has tree ranchers, though. That's subjective.
That's why I was telling you, I can't make heads or tails of what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure which vein you're on. Black people should try to become cops. We get to disagree about that one. And try to invest in prisons, flip the script on the rich white people. And you know what? I'm going to talk about that real quick because I know a lot of people agree with that and think that. But it's really hard to do good. And I know a lot of good black cops, for the record. But the system is still fucked up. So at some point, unless you're going to totally change policing, it's going to be really hard. I would rather black folk become lawyers. To be honest, if they can. And I'm speaking generally. All right, Brian, you ain't said nothing about investments, bro. All right. The AFK probably wouldn't be so bad if more people would know about it. That's true. That's true because stocks, ETFs definitely are a popularity contest, right? These things are definitely built on who knows about them. And you can look at the different ETFs that all cover the same thing. Like you have one gold ETF called GLD. Again, this is not investment advice. You have another gold ETF called IAU. The GLD one has the most assets. IAU doesn't have as much. IAU, I want to say, the expense ratio is cheaper. They invest in the same thing. They track the same thing. GLD has the most assets, though, and they have a higher expense ratio. Last time I looked, I got to go back and fact check myself, though. What up, Anthony? Welcome. Point it is, always go check your stuff. All right, is it better?
Father, part 3.
Is it better to money into an ETF over your 401k from a job? Okay. So they're two different things. An ETF is actually an investment tool. A 401k is actually a piece of tax code, right? But what it is, it's a bucket. It's a retirement bucket where you can buy mutual funds and ETFs. Usually mutual funds, though, just because of the way they are set up. But you can find a lot of the same investment options in your 401k that we are talking about. You got to just do some research. No, I got you. Anthony. I don't know why this is doing that. Yeah. I know. Your average logical thinker. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. Thoughts on AI stocks? They hot.
So, a question real quick about that, though.
Okay.
It depends upon how you look at that, right? So, the AI stock, would you consider Microsoft an AI stock or NVIDIA an AI play, right?
Yes.
Because if so, my thoughts on that are top T is amazing. But now, the other part about that is, if you're talking about directly into small cap AI stocks, then you got to be careful with those. I do have a leap on, oddly enough, the ticker symbol is AI, C3 AI. But I bought that a long time ago. I have a $12.50 leap that I'm sitting on, which is doing fairly well for me. But overall, just be careful when you talk about going to the small cap space, because a lot of things that have AI in their name or what have you aren't even AI. They're just riding a wave. So,
and then when you look at the ETF that follows it, Robo, I haven't looked at it, but again, you got to be careful because sometimes it might make sense just to buy the individual stock versus the ETF, but you got to do a level of discernment on that.
How many bits is Robo charging?
I don't know. That's why I said I got to go look. And then you got to understand, their investment philosophy, how they handle it, management, and everything. All right, Ms. Mauer says, yes, I run my seasonality scans monthly. Good stuff.
Nice.
Jim, did you get my Zelle from Anthony Johnson? Put his whole government out there.
And Anthony, I absolutely didn't get your Zelle. And shoot me a message. Let's talk offline. I didn't get any Zelle from you.
But Anthony, thank you, because I believe you did it. So thank you.
Yo, and shoot me a message at JW the Blueprint. Shoot it to me wherever I forgot to add the memo. I didn't get a Zelle at all, so I know I didn't get it because I have no Zelles.
That means your lives are getting served in the algorithm when randos pop in. So it's funny. I know what you're talking about, but he's here every week for like the last 3 weeks, I think.
Really? I ain't seen Ball before.
Yeah, he's been there before.
All right, salute to him then.
Yeah. That's why I said I would acknowledge him. Now, if he's just a random troll, I'm not acknowledging that.
No, I don't know if he was. Corey was not. I was trying to make sense of what he was saying.
You know my feelings on that. I don't gotta say this.
No, you don't. You don't.
There you go. Ain't no code in the streets. Yes, the wire. That's a fact. He's a troll. All right, what's up, Brandon? Welcome. Let's see. Rich. What up, Rich? Rich is my hip-hop brother. Rich always be having the high hip-hop clips.
Rich's son just graduated from the Ivy League, man, so salute to Rich for that, too.
Oh, salute to you, brother. Congratulations. What up, Shelby?
Shelby,
I called you yesterday. All right, if your job is matching, so I believe your average logical thinker is saying if your job is matching, you should invest in your 401k.
Man, if your job is matching, go to however high they'll match, man. Take that chicken. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something real fast, right? I've been blessed and highly favored in my life. I know a lot of people who are millionaires, right? Most millionaires I know aren't what you see online. They don't. Matter of fact, most of them don't even have their own business. Most of them are people that have bought a home and have a 401k and just go to work. Literally.
Mind their business.
And mind their business. And they take that match. The only corporate America job I ever had in the private sector was Johnson & Johnson. And there was probably a third of my colleagues that were millionaires because they were just taking company stock and they bought a house. Like literally, they take company stock, buy a house. And at the time that I was working at Johnson & Johnson was booming. So that's all they did. They didn't do anything spectacular. They didn't go start their own business. They didn't job shame. They just went to work, stack their bread, and mind their business. And the next thing you know, they would show me their portfolio. And it's funny. It was funny thing about it in corporate America, which is different than the public sector, is in corporate America, like it would actually make them work harder. They'd be a jerk. Like, come on, I pick it up. Like my stock depends on this. They would like take ownership of the company. Yep. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was their company, correct. Of it. But I've seen it with my own eyes, and that's why I laugh sometimes online when people be telling these stories like you got to go buy 65 rental properties or you got to go do this and you got to go do that. That's all cool. But most people in my personal life that I've seen that have achieved this, be minding their business, they get equity somewhere or somehow and just,
they got ownership.
Yeah, ownership. So that's what it is. This is just a quick sidebar.
All right. So Don says 401k gives you the ability to DCA. DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. That's one of our cheat code words, y'all. All right. With DCA, without thinking about it, just set and go, make more money. I agree, Don. I agree. Because y'all know what our saying is, right? Go ahead, Jim.
DCA is the cheat code. But I also want to add that is one of the reasons why what I just talked about works is because home ownership from that standpoint is kind of a DCA too, right? It's like a forced savings. Because most of the time when you see people that say renting is better than owning, and sometimes mathematically it can be, but the reason they say that is because they're looking at the math. But one thing they don't take into account is most people won't invest the difference, right? If I can get rent for cheaper, I'm not going to then take the difference and invest it. When you're paying a mortgage, it's forcing you to save, right? It's forced savings, and then you get the appreciation, so on and so forth. But it's the same idea for the 401k. You set it, you pay the mortgage, and those two things combined over a period of time can change.
It's how most people become millionaires.
Yeah, but it could change your family's life.
Literally, their job in their house forced them to become millionaires.
Yeah, so what happens is you do that. That takes the next generation inherit your home and your 401k, and then boom, if they teach them how to do the same, that legacy can be phenomenal. So
this is why when people be saying you got to do all kinds of strange stuff to become a millionaire, they don't understand the math behind it. They literally don't understand the math. Most millionaires are, the vast majority of millionaires or will know are 401k millionaires, people who, bought their house and stuff like that. They be talking about you got to take all these chances and be all of this other stuff. Man, I got two uncles that are millionaires. Both of them work 45 years at their job.
Yep, it's not rocket science.
They work 45 years at their job.
So it's funny. We did a show, Anybody Could Be a Millionaire. And one of the comments was like, well, why aren't there more than 9% of people? What did they say? They said something like only 9% of the U.S. population are millionaires.
That's because people.
If everybody can do it, why aren't more millionaires? Go ahead, Corey.
Because most people spend more than they make.
Facts.
And so that's literally why there aren't more million. And then a lot of people don't have jobs that put the money away to the side for them. So that's the other thing. A lot of people are doing gig work and stuff like that where the government doesn't put anything aside.
Listen, I think it's even more simple than that.
You got those.
To me, it's two words. It's discipline and consistency, right? That's what people lack. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody can get in shape too. Everybody can get in shape too, but
60% of the country is obese. Everybody can get in shape.
I'm speaking. I don't have the discipline and consistency to go work out every day. That's why I'm a fat boy. But it is what it is.
Discipline, no.
But I do
listen because I know Jim was skinny because me and him was skinny at the same time.
Listen, I had a six pack at one point, but I didn't have the discipline and consistency to keep it up. But what I will say is that I got the discipline and consistency to stack this chicken. You know what I'm saying? So
there we go. So AE says Kathy Woods was just on Diary of a CEO. I like that podcast, by the way. Talking about AI. It was a good interview. For the record, also, I think Kathy Woods is a bit overhyped too. But
y'all slandering Kathy Woods?
I ain't slandering the woman.
I want to know what her Tesla position looks like now, because she was all on the Tesla wagon. So
listen, she was on a Tesla. So here's what I will say: she was on a Tesla wagon so early that even with she's so far ahead of the game. Now, what I will say is, to your point, that Tesla position kind of did make her. That if I look across her funds, that's where it was. But if you ever read her story, I got a certain level of respect for her because of how she worked her way into being who she is. Now, with that being,
I'll do the research. I'll do the knowledge.
She not
that being said,
my listening attention.
With that being said, though, in terms of the hype is what it is. But what my biggest problem with Kathy Woods is, she be raking people for them fees, dog.
Yeah,
the fees on her funds be wild. Like, I'm like, I know one person getting rich from their funds.
Kathy Woods. No issues there. Kathy Woods.
All right, what's one of Kathy Woods' ETFs? She's
All right,
got a lot of global equities. Right. All right, so let's see. Let's pull this up because Jim makes a great point. What is ARC's? Where are we at? I want to see. Come on. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Un momento.
Take the other. You a tab. You a tab junkie, dog. Take the one joint down. The PowerPoint.
I'm feeling like Jim be bullying me, y'all.
No, because this is a conversation.
I'm doing multiple things here, man.
The bullying.
Let me ask the audience a question, right? Because I know Kamari's not alone in this. Me and Kamari were talking before we came on, and I was telling him how, I get the digital heebie-jeebies when people open their computer and they got like 5,000 tabs open. He's one of them boys. I got one tab right now. Kamari be having like 5,000 tabs.
I got 7 tabs open right now.
And then he be wondering why he can't show certain things. Like, you got 7,000 tabs open. So I just want to ask y'all, are y'all tab junkies?
All right,
do y'all be having?
Hold on, Jim. We're gonna come back to that. I promise. Her expense ratio on ARC is 75 basis points. That's bananas.
She be whacking them over the head.
I told y'all that. Like I told you, my only issue is not her hype or all that. It's like, she's really leveraging that hype because she like, all right, y'all want to build hype around me? Huh? You get a car. Her and her team are eating.
Definitely eating. Jeez Louise.
And then, not to shade her, because I'm not trying to shade her at all, but if you just go by QQQ, right? And you, again, I don't know, I haven't done this, but I wonder if I put QQQ next to one of her things, what would the return be over a period of time? Anyway.
I bet you QQQ winning.
Yeah. I don't think that's shade at all. All right, Farida says, so one, good morning, Farida. Welcome. Another one of those S&P 500 ETFs. All right, so let's pull up QQQ.
Oh, IWM, that's the Russell 2000.
Oh, so that's small cap then.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the Russell. I would like to see that. Take that versus a Kathy Wood. But anyway, man.
So Jim just jumped on the Kathy Wood slander bandwagon.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not slandering Kathy. I told you my only issue with Kathy is her fees. Outside of her fees, I have no problem with her at all. I like her story. Like the fact she get out there and talk, and I also like the fact that whatever position she takes, she'll stand on it. You know what I'm saying?
She's staying 10 toes down.
Yeah, she don't duck. Even if she's right or wrong, she's gonna be right on Front Street telling you why her analysis was what it was. So I'm overall, I like Kathy Woods. I just think that she be for her fees is wow. And as someone who loves low fee stuff, that was my only issue with Kathy Woods.
Now, why isn't this coming up?
Probably because you got 7,000 tabs open is what it is.
No, that's not the problem. I'm trying to find the right ticker symbol so I can do a comparison side by side. Now, stop shading me. You're bullying me, Jim.
No, I really
feeling-
want to know. I really want to know from the folks that are watching though. How many y'all are y'all a tab junkie like Kamari? Y'all be having 5,000 tabs open.
Call my man a tab junkie.
Listen,
Not
man,
slanderous.
you-
That's not is it slanderous?
that is slanderous.
I have
making fun of me
7
now.
tabs open. I have my Trading View tab open. I have this tab open, and I have my inbox to my emails open. Both of my emails that I read regularly. And
I'm a one tab.
One tab at a time.
Yeah, and if I need something else, I open it up and then I close it right back. Like I'm a one tabber.
Okay, I ain't mad at that.
You mean?
I am, because he's trying to shade us. He's in the minority.
Call me
Me
Big
and Core,
Tab.
me and Core are regular people.
That's a Philly reference for y'all. Big Tab.
Well, damn, yo, jeez, like it's not even a comparison, dog.
Oh, see, look, see, Kamar, you're not alone. We got folks in the comments. They tab junkies too.
Yeah, but you trying to make fun of me? I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that.
I'm not
I
making
know
fun
what
of
you're
you.
doing. You're not
No,
slick.
listen,
You're
I know
not
that
slick.
you are not alone.
He's definitely not alone.
Oh Lord, I can't take this guy, man. I can't take this guy. All right, so let's see.
Whoa, look at this chart. So look at Kamari got the rocket launchers out. Kamari look like he over there. All right, young X Capital.
He called him Young X Capital. Yo.
As an aside though, last night, right, I was telling Kamari, I was like, dog, I'm exhausted. You gonna have a presentation tomorrow. I was laying around last night, just trying to, a little relaxing and whatnot. I started watching Billions from the beginning, and got a somewhat of a hot take, but it's not really a hot take. I think Billions is the greatest piece of content around finance ever. I think it's better than Wall Street. It's better than Boiler Room.
Slander, Trading Places. Nothing needs to be said.
No. Trading Places.
So it can be. Listen, Trading Places around financial content. Eddie Murphy is the GOAT. Take it back. Take it back.
Can I finish my thought though?
No.
Trading Places is the single greatest movie of all time. Trading Places is a life movie, but I'm talking about specifically just heavy finance. Like Billions is phenomenal, yo. I just started watching it from scratch, and it's funny when you go back and watch things from the beginning, you forget certain things. Like, oh damn, like I didn't realize even in the first season, Axe was out here wearing suits and whatnot in the first season.
Yeah. The whole evolution.
The whole evolution of the show is like watching it from the beginning, and I forgot how involved his wife was in the beginning. Like she was just as cutthroat as he was.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for her, Axe wouldn't be where he is now. But that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation.
We could do a Billions review at a different time. But what I am going to say though is just watching it from the beginning, I was like, damn, Billions was actually pretty good. Well,
okay.
Written.
We need to do a whole series of that for Blur Vision.
Let's get it.
All right. So listen. All right. ARK versus QQQ since the beginning of the year. Damn. So ARK has returned 7.45%. QQQ has returned 3.04%. Then when you add in the fee, because you got to subtract 75 basis points for that, so that brings you down to about 6%, 6.7. It's still beating. It's doubling QQQ year to date.
Year to date. I don't care about year to date. Give me a longer time frame. That's all I care about. Give me 5 years.
I got you. I'm going there, man. I'm going there. Now, over a 5-year period, ARK has returned a negative 2%, 2.07% to be precise. QQQ has returned 121.22% over a 5-year term.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. And look at the expense ratio of QQQ.
Correct.
You probably already got a point.
I know it's low though, right? It's less than 10 bips, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up now because I don't want to misquote. This QQQ expense ratio. What is the expense ratio of QQQ?
Come on. What we got?
What are we talking about? Let's see. So the blind man. 0.20.
Yeah. So that's 50 points lower.
50-point lower and a better return over, and that's not even. We go longer, it's probably going to be even more egregious. But over a 5 year,
5 years, which is like that's a decent sample size, but like that ain't even the sample size we're looking for.
But what I tell, it's funny because a lot of times in our investment club, people get mad when I say this. I tell them like we should never buy an investment if we're not willing to hold it a minimum of 5 to 10 years. That's a personal opinion of mine. I feel like if you do the knowledge and you feel like this is a good investment, you should be looking to hold it for 5 to 10 years minimum, unless something drastic changes within how that company is run.
Like the world blows up.
Yeah. So I say that to say this: 5 years is a good enough time comparison for me for that specific analysis. And I'm just saying when you add.
But I also think for what the club, and I didn't know there was opposition to that, because I 1000% concur with that. I agree with that. We'll definitely back that up at a meeting we go to. Because what's the point of an investment club? It's not to be a trading club. It's to be long term. Yeah.
So it's not that people push back on me when I say that. It's just that because sometimes they be like, well, we should get rid of this because of that. I'm like, how long have we had it? And they be like, here we go. Because I'm like, look, if you're going to buy something, we should be doing. If you feel like we should sell now, we should have done a better job going into the investment. That's my whole point.
Right.
Yep.
Real fast. Rich asked a question. What's the fund that carries the top 20 in the S&P 500? That is Top T, TOPT. They call me Young Top T out here. But anyway, we got some more comments. But anyway, I was
coming to him right now.
Excellent conversation though, because I think expense ratio, and this actually ties into your presentation this morning. Please look at your expense ratios. Again, I have no problem with her. I think she's phenomenal. It's just that that was my only issue, was the expense ratio. I had ARKK for a while. What made you get out of ARKK? Your average logical thinker, like if you don't mind me asking, it seems like you got out of it. I was wondering what made you walk away. Interesting. She calling Tesla AI company.
That's where it's moving.
So Brandon Leslie, I work for the government now. They take out 15% of every check for the four. So do you have a 457 or 403B?
You probably got a TSP. Well, TSP. What government do you work for? Federal, state, local? Because Jimmy's right. If you're local and state, it's 457.
Yeah, and I think the Fed. What do the Feds have?
TSP. I think it's its own thing. I don't even know.
Rick's savings plan. So. Yeah, because I think it's a little bit different than a 401k. But again,
the same premise though. The same premise.
Yeah. It's deferred. It's all under the bucket of deferred compensation.
Correct. All right. Ann says I have a 3-leg stool going. Life insurance on me and the team, whole and term, 401k, brokerage account, and a Roth. My goal is to parlay those assets into real estate.
So, Ann, question for you. I like what you're building. Let's see what you got going on. You said your goal is to parlay those assets into real estate. And my question is why? Now, maybe you can add real estate as a part of it, but when you say parlay, are you talking about use all those and then take them away and then put them into real estate? Because over a long period of time, the stock market is going to outperform real estate in terms of return. Now, I do think real estate is important for other reasons, and I think that real estate adds a little bit of stability to an overall portfolio. Having a piece of real estate, to me, as part of your plan is good, but parlaying all those into real estate, at least the way that reads, I was just wondering why, because your 401k is probably going to outperform it over a period of time. Just being honest.
Maybe, depending on how he gets it, especially if it's an inheritance property. Step-up basis is a cheat code. I don't think a lot of people realize.
Yeah, but he said parlay those
I know.
That has nothing to do with inheriting. That's parlaying into.
Well, again, I didn't want to assume, but we can go with your logic. I'll also say this, right? I think people don't think about the tax savings power of the Roth IRA, because if your money is in a 401k or at some point it's going to go to a traditional IRA for disbursement, when you are 72 and a half, the government starts making you take that money because they want to tax it. With the Roth, you don't have those problems. So, just keep that in mind.
Kamari is going to find a way to bring up tax. I just want to put
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, because it's one of the greatest enemies to wealth accumulation and creation.
I have a personal rule, right? I refuse to put anything into my taxable brokerage until I fully funded my backdoor Roth IRA. That's like a personal rule. Like that has to get done. That has to get done every year because of what you just said. Like to me, the Roth is probably the greatest vehicle there is. Like, if I had to, probably Roth 401k at the very top, but let's just take the Roth portion of it. The Roth is what it is. The Roth is fire. So until I got to do a backdoor Roth, but until I get that done, nothing else goes into a taxable brokerage because it doesn't make sense to personal opinion. Shout out to me and Rich, one tab game.
It's a one tabber. Okay, I see what's going on here.
One tab game.
2,600 by 2023. Not if old boy get his contract revoked.
Not if Orange Man. He keep beefing with Orange Man. I don't know. What's Tesla at right now? By the way, she said 2,600. I want to see what Tesla's going for right now.
That's a great question.
Hold on. Tesla is $295, and her price target. Listen, if she's right, I ain't gonna be mad at her because if she's right, let me see. Is Tesla? Oh, it's a tab heavy. All right. See, I told you you're not alone, doggy.
Tesla's at 295.
That's what I said. She said her price target is 2,600.
Yeah, that price target got some holes in it.
For real, it says, Kathy, I'm in a bond. All right, Farida, clearly you're part of the Nate gang.
Listen, Tesla is a part of Top T, so I hope Kathy is right. Kathy, I hope you're right. I'm on your side, Kathy, because if Tesla hits 2,600, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting some more Kobe beef shipped to me.
All right, so Miss Maui Lorraine says, I have 60 tabs open.
Oh.
Listen, so I'm in great company then.
Ooh, nasty
Miss
word.
Lorraine is awesome.
Jim about to have a conniption.
Oh, that's nasty work. Nasty.
Oh, and that doesn't include the 7 apps open too.
Oh man, that would drive me banoodles, man. I get irrationally angry at a bunch of tabs, yo. She said
right, yes, I need them. All right. I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling good. I'm not alone.
I told you you're not alone, man.
But Jim was trying to persecute me. He was trying to persecute me.
All right, so
especially when at work. All right, that's the tabs. That's between my desktop and a virtual machine. All those tabs kill the performance unless you have a lot of processing power. That's a fact. Even if you have a lot of processing power.
And that was how we got into the conversation because I was asking Kamari, right? So I'm trying to step my stream up. So I got a lot of like new technology. I was asking him, should I get a new computer as well to, because I'm trying to get my screen crispy like his. And he was saying that depends upon your processing power. And I was like, well, not with you because you got 5,000 tabs open. So
but I kind of got a little mini supercomputer sitting on my desk though. So
you got your boy. Your boy bragging on the low, yo.
I'm not bragging. I'm just, it's all facts, baby. It's all facts. What I'm running thoughts, putting in work, those tabs get open. All right, that's what's up. All right, I'm not alone. I feel seen now.
Got you.
You gotta watch the 1980 series Dallas. Listen, J.R. Ewing was a beast.
Yeah, that's why he got his ass shot too. But hold on,
my grandmother used to watch it all the time. So because I think Dallas came on like Friday nights or something back in the day.
So here's the thing, Ant. I have watched Dallas, but I haven't watched it recently. So maybe I need to rewatch it with like
I need to rework
with more mature eyes, and maybe I have a different appreciation for it. I know I tried to watch when they revamped it a couple years ago, and I just couldn't get into the new one, the new Dallas. Because sometimes you gotta let stuff die. You can't just keep bringing stuff back. But I need to go back to watch the original with more mature eyes.
All right, it's all right. So it says, in my eyes, Dynasty up there too. So Dynasty was the one with Diane Carroll, right?
Yes.
I'll watch that one because that lady was
She was brilliant.
All right, what's the fund that? All right, Jim got that already. What's the fund that carries the top 20 in S&P? Well, it's the top 20 in the Dow, though, right, Jim? Or is it S&P?
No, it's the top 20 to S&P 500.
Okay, all right.
It's top T, but and by the way, Tesla's in this. Let's go, Kathy.
All right, Anthony says Trading Places, talking about the best piece of financial content. Mm-hmm. Trading Places, then both Wall Street movies and Billions. The Big Short is an honorable mention. Okay, I agree with that.
I like the way The Big Short was shot, like the way they would do like the education parts, like within the middle of the movie, they would stop and just like educate you with their. I thought that was dope.
It was. It was.
I gotta go back and rewatch that.
All right, expense ratio. I just be DCAing when I can. Listen, DCAing when you can is the G code again, but look at the expense ratio. Because if you get DCA into something that's you're going to exponentially grow your money a lot faster.
And also, Kamari did something. He actually showed something that most people don't do, right? When you compare two things and you see the performance, right? But most people never take into account the expenses. So you'll see this one, okay, this outperformed this. And then you add the expenses in, and then you realize you had a whole different story.
And he changed the time frame, because if you only do it for 1 year, then it looked like Kathy Woods is winning. But he did it over 5 years, and then that job changed drastically.
And the crazy other part about that is, right? So we talk about compounding. Guess what else compounds? The money you pay, the expenses, that compounds too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everything compounds.
Absolutely. Those missed opportunities add up for sure. For sure. All right. I think this jumped on me.
All right, so I got you, bro. You stopped that. You skipped the comment. We said I want to do that too. All right, I should have said I want to tap into those assets to purchase and build a massive real estate holding. Okay, so you want to leverage those to get some real estate. You don't want to get rid of them. You just want to leverage them to get it. I get that. That comes off a little different than the first one. You know what I'm saying? So okay, that's cool. Hey, listen, I got some properties if you want to buy them. I'm trying to go full.
I got Cindy, the agent has now appeared. He's now in the conversation.
listen, I'm trying to go full paper assets, man. I'm trying to disappear into Belize with nothing but paper assets. But anyway, I digress.
All right, don't do an STA. That was my mistake. Not doing one, or I don't understand the comment. You got that comment, Jim?
Don't do an SDIRA.
So ST is self-directed.
Self-directed IRA. That was my mistake.
So that you did one or you didn't do one?
Did you do it
actually tricky?
I guess she messed up her own IRA.
Well, so it depends upon how you do it, right? Because you can have a self-directed IRA right on the brokerage. Or you can do one of those self-directed IRAs where you have to pay an agent fee and they do all that because you're trying to like put real estate and
gold and loans.
One of those can be a little bit tricky, but you can do a self-directed one like right on Schwab or what have you and still control where your money goes.
Right. So clarify that one for us. Peter Thiel Roth. Peter Thiel's got a mega Roth. I forgot
he got a mega Roth.
Yeah, yes he does.
You remember when the boy was running for president, the Mormon boy?
He's got one too. Yep.
Yeah, he got one too. They tried to put him on blast when he ran for president. How much money he had in his IRA? Mitt Romney had like 200 M's in it. Yeah. And they was like, he's never going to pay taxes on that. He was like, that's the point of the vehicle.
That's the whole point. Like what?
But what people don't understand is what he did was he was an owner or CEO of a company, small cap company, micro cap company, really small.
He was an investment banker. And
no, but he got those shares when he was working somewhere, and that's how they went to the Roth.
For the investment company, they were taking other companies and things public. And he was getting early access to shares or what have you, and he was having them put into his Roth.
But people don't understand, a lot of those companies are actually very risky. So just as much as it went up, it could have just went down and went to zero. So, I ain't mad at it. Watch the interview. It was all about AI. Okay.
I'm gonna watch it.
Just because you said so.
Kathy gonna have me all gassed up.
Our processing power is trash. Right.
Because you got 60 tabs open. If you close about 50 of them, you watch it.
And 7 apps also.
Close the tabs.
All right, Anthony's starting some shit. Sidebar, shout out to Sugar Mamas who are in the National Nate Wildlife Reserve. I'm in a bind too. Oh, God. For all those who don't be here on Fridays, Nate, y'all just look up Nate from Set It Off, and then you'll begin to understand.
You'll be in a bind too.
All right, we got that one. All right, we got that one.
Okay, he said yeah, the new. He said new. He was green with the new one is ass. Okay, as long as I'm not. All right, cool.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So she said she tried to buy real estate and it wasn't good because the custodian stuff. See, that's the problem with those. You gotta have a custodian, and again, they be hitting you with Kathy Wood fees.
And then also, like, you have to be really careful with the self-directed ones in this context because you can't do none of the work yourself, right? All your work has to go to a third party and then paid out through that LLC that's owned by the self-directed IRA. So you can really blow them up if they're done wrong. And I've seen them done wrong. So, but that means you out there getting to that chicken now. So you got some property.
Hey, that's my name. Hey.
I need to buy a new laptop ASAP. All right, let's get it done. Let's get it done. I'm thinking about buying a Remarkable. Has anybody tried that product out?
Just for note taking?
Yep. Listen, I got a problem. I'm like a hoarder. So I got 1,000 tabs open. Can you imagine how many notepads I have just laying around?
This is why
it's a problem.
I just use my phone, dog. I got my.
Yeah, but that don't work. That don't work for me. That don't work for me.
Yeah, I respect it. You're
and then
man.
I got respect your elders.
You Danny Glover, I get it. You Danny Glover, I get it.
I'm too old for this shit. I keep telling you that, man. Like, so it's not that I don't want to play the pause game. My brain just don't work that way.
Listen, I respect it. I listen. The thing is, you be thinking I'm joking. I don't want to. I just. Yeah,
you need to go to Paul's diet, though, man. Come on.
I do. I need to try like Paul's rehab or something. I can't help myself. I've done it. Listen,
he said Paul's rehab. Yo, you'll be wilding, bro.
I've been in professional meetings with city council people and senators, and I pause them. Like, I can't help it.
Now, listen. Forget city council people. Jim is at a room with billionaires doing a presentation on real estate, and he says pause.
I can't.
It's documented. It's documented.
No, it is documented. I really do need help, bro. I listen, man. I be trying, man. God's working on me, y'all.
Listen, man. Jim Jones, the whole Dipset, Dame Dash, they owe Jim a check, man. They infected him with the pause disease.
The crazy part is it didn't even come from there. We were doing that before them because, well, we weren't saying pause. We were saying something that I can't say in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was before Dame with the pause. They made it actually more powerful by saying pause.
He made it better because what we were saying the multi-letter corporations will come get us. They will come get us right now.
Man, listen, my beverage is still cold, and that's because I'm using this supplement bottle. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys support Supplement, right? You want to support us? You can do that by supporting Supplement. Supplement is a black-owned business, right?
And I'll let you know my beverage is still hot.
And mine is cold, by the way. Yeah, but anyway, I'll add to this, though. Black bottles forever, snow bottles never.
There we go with the slang.
Black bottles forever, snow bottles never. But yeah, so go to getsupplement.com. Make sure you support Supplement, man. And this is fire too, though, because no other bottle got the little string jump right here like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress, man.
All right, and so I see there's a couple more comments coming right to y'all.
Let's get through these so we can get out of here, man. I got hit the
Anthony says, I remember when Mitt Romney said that the corporation are people too. Well, blame the Supreme Court. They did that. I wasn't mad at his comment at all. That EIN saved me from doom years ago. Okay. All right. And Running Thought says you can own the custodian LLC. Well, so yes, but I don't know which context you're saying it in. You got to have a custodian. You got to have a trustee to take care of all the stuff.
So here's the thing about Running Thought. And I think that goes to her original point. You can do those things, but it becomes like way too complicated. It doesn't become worth it.
Right. So, alrighty. Well, today is Sunday. Like I said, we're going to be here not for a long time, but for a good time. We got to get that Sunday dinner. By the way, what is everybody making for Sunday dinner? I need some ideas. All right. But if you are not in the village, do us a favor. Go on over to blackwealthrebels.com. Again, blackwealthrebels.com. You can subscribe as low as $1 or for free. Become a part of the village, because that's where all the magic is, y'all. All right. Until when we gonna be back? Wednesday, if not sooner.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I haven't done my pods and with everything happening with Tracy and everything. I didn't do my pods. I'm gonna try to get some pods done this week, man. Let's get some content out there, man. Also, we got content dropping specifically for the village. You'll be in the village, please, because
right.
We got dropping. Me and Kamar did a video about you'll see it. We'll drop it.
We gotta do the books, and we gotta do billions, because those is easy, and we gotta do the music joints, like all of the stuff that we do. We gotta get it back there.
All right, let's do it.
Because I got some bars. I got notes and everything for this sky full of elephants. And Kamari been ducking the smoke.
I'm here for the smoke, baby. Let's go. I got the book.
I'm gonna get it on Audible, because y'all keep. Cause I need to have that read so that I can be up to date. Because I can't. Can't do Audible.
Support Kevin too, man. Get this book, man. It's from Burning the Blueprint, man. I'm like I said, I'm gonna be done this week. Phenomenal.
Okay. All right. So until the next time, y'all. Again, y'all find us in the village, blackwealthrebels.com, and we'll see y'all on Wednesday. Have a great day, y'all. Enjoy y'all Sunday.
Peace. Love y'all.
Oh, we had signed off already.